I wanted to make a quick start guide for Vintage Story. I absolutely love this game. I know when I was first starting out, I struggled a little bit, and I've heard from some of my friends who've tried to start to play that they're a little confused at the beginning as well. So I want more people to feel comfortable playing this game because it is so awesome. But there's so much to it. It does seem overwhelming at first. I'm hoping this quick start guide can kind of get you into the flow a little bit and kind of prepare you for your journey into Vintage Story. Here I'm in creating a new world. I'm leaving it at standard. The world name, you can re-roll and it'll give you a bunch of different random options. You can also name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name this Quick Start World. For this video, I'm going to be showing the standard world. Now, before we hit Create World, there are a couple of options I do recommend that you update for when you're first starting out. And if you want to update them continuing even after you've gotten the hang of it. So in Customize, I would recommend a race timer. 3 days is what I usually do. I even apply this to my long-term worlds. I just like be able to establish a dirt house before I have to start worrying about monsters coming at you, because you're gonna have wolves and bears, and there's so many other perils in the game. Especially when you're first starting out, I highly recommend just give yourself a little bit of grace. On the survival challenges tab, the default is 9 days. For my long-term worlds, I do really like the 28-day months. But if you kind of want to get a good taste of what Vintage Story has to offer as far as the seasons changing, it might be good to leave it at 9 days at the beginning, just so you can kind of see how the world changes and you're not super prepared for your first winter. It won't be quite as long, but also you're not going to have as much time to be able to prep for your first winter. I would recommend leaving all of these other options down here. Pretty standard. The only other thing I like to change here would be changing your prospecting pick from 6 blocks to 8 blocks. There are some other things you can look into as far as temporal stability and world generation, but for right now, I would just leave those alone until you start getting into the hang of the game, and you can fine-tune so much stuff to whatever playstyle you prefer. Hit apply, and then go ahead and create world. When you first load into the game, you'll be presented with a character creator, in which you can go in here and you can change a lot of different options. Once you do have something that you've used, and if you start a new world after you've created your character for the first time, you can use this last selection option down here, and it'll just bring in whatever the last selection was for your character. I'm just going to go ahead and confirm skin for now. I would highly recommend choosing the commoner class, especially at the beginning. Honestly, if you're playing single player, I would recommend playing as a commoner and then unlocking all of the class-specific specialties, which we'll get into in a little bit. But if you are interested in the classes, you can go through and take a look at them. They all have pros and cons to them, but the commoner has no positive or negative traits, which is why I prefer to play as a commoner. All right, so we have officially loaded into our world. There are 2 things I want to bring up real quick. You can see in the top left-hand corner, it says hold K to open the introductory menu. I highly recommend this if it's your first time playing. It'll go through and help you learn a few things. Also in the top right, just underneath the minimap, you see that I have coordinates displayed. If you're loading the game for the first time, you probably do not see those coordinates. Click Control V. That hides and shows the coordinates, all right? And it tells you what direction you're facing. So you can see right now I'm facing north, east, south, and west. To move around, it's the typical WASD controls. If you are familiar with Minecraft, very similar to Minecraft, jump is spacebar, and that's great. And we actually got a really good spawn right here. If you are unsure of what anything is in the game, look at it, and then look at the top center of your screen. It'll tell you what it is. This is loose flint. We need flint, all right? So I'm just going to hold left click to break it. Ooh, that's scary. We need to move. But first I want to get these sticks. So holding left click to break. We also are going to need some rocks. So again, holding left click to break. And they're going into my inventory. Real quick, hopefully we're not going to get immediately eaten by a wolf. I want to talk about your inventory. If you hit E, it brings up your inventory, or lack thereof. At the beginning of the game, you only have your hotbar slots. We need to make baskets and backpacks to increase our inventory space. Right now, we don't really have any. One of our first goals is, oh, there was the wolf. Did you see it? It just walked that way. Which is unfortunate. I kind of wanted to go that way. I am going to just kind of punch into this dirt. Oh no, there's stone. That's okay. We're just going to kind of make a little save area for ourselves. There. So glad I did that. The wolf cannot get in here because it's one wide. We don't have an exit though, which is a little terrifying. What is over here? Maybe we put a block over there to just kind of make it a little bit safer. Another thing I want to bring up is that you can pause the game a couple of ways. One way is by pressing escape. Brings up the menu for back to game settings. I do have music turned off because typically when I'm playing the game, I'm either recording or I'm listening to something on YouTube. So I have it down, but I have all these other ones probably up. Totally up to you what you want to do. There are also a few other options in here if you need to change the controls. I do recommend changing sprint to caps lock, especially if you are like me and you might have a little carpal tunnel. I've got a little carpal tunnel in my left hand. Just moving my pinky all the way down to hit control, not great. So I switch it to caps lock, and that has helped me immensely. Another way you can pause the game is to hit H to bring up the survival handbook. This is life. This is where you're going to find a vast majority of the information that you need to play the game. It does have a quick starter guide in here, and we're going to do a lot of this stuff that's in here. Definitely reference this. It's great. I have probably a combined over 500, probably close to 600 hours across all of my worlds. I still reference this all the time for various things. But we are going to go ahead and start making our first tool with the flint. So you can see when I change what is selected, so I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse to do this, it gives you different options about what you can do with each inventory item. And what we can do with the flint is shift plus right click to place to begin napping. So we're going to do that. And it brings up a recipe. several recipes that we can choose from. You hover over them, it'll tell you what it is. We need to start with a knife blade. Knives are very important in this game. So I clicked knife and it now shows me all of these orange blocks that we need to get rid of. To get rid of them, you need a stone, which we very fortunately picked up. So you need to go through and just remove all of these orange ones. If you just remove around the edge that you need, does just go ahead and get rid of it. So you don't want to get rid of every single block, just go around the edge. Now we have a flint knife blade, but we need to craft our knife. So I'm going to put it here, stick here, and now we have a knife. This is great. This is a valuable step towards our future survival. It is not much of a weapon, so we do not want to get in a fight. We don't want to get in a fight with a wolf or a bear. That the wolf right there? It might be. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on that. So mushrooms are going to be one of the primary sources of food early game, but you need to be careful. So what I'm doing is I have my cursor on the mushroom and then I'm just holding left click to harvest it. And then I press E so that I can get to my mouse. And then when I hover over it, see, it says jack-o'-lantern, and then it tells you some stats about it. Fresh for 18 days, when eaten, 80 saturation, so that means it'll fill up 80 points of our hunger bar, but minus 6 HP. We don't really want to eat that right now. We're not starving. There might come a time when you will sacrifice health for food. We're not currently at that stage. So what we're going to do is we do need to try to figure out a way out of these woods. Oh, here's some more mushrooms. Let's check these out. Ah, these are good. Indigo milk cap. When eaten, 80 saturation. They don't take health. Perfect. So the cool thing about this game is that after we harvest these mushrooms, eventually they will come back. And we need to know where to go to find them. You're gonna hit M to bring up your big map. And then you're gonna zoom. I like to zoom in as far as I can. And then you right click to add a waypoint. And we are just gonna choose mushrooms, which is just a general default one. You can choose a color if you want to. I'm just gonna leave this as the default. You can also change the name if you want. I'm just gonna leave it at the default mushrooms if it'll let me. There we go. And then hit save. That is now marked on your main map as well as your mini map. You can see on the mini map, my little player icon is underneath of the mushroom icon. All right, I am now going to harvest all of these mushrooms, as this is gonna be our first bit of sustenance. While I'm collecting these mushrooms, I'm being very careful to not run because I know there's a wolf around. If you run, it is loud. It will alert things to your presence. I'm also looking for flint. Here's more flint. We need more tools, so I'm going to continue to keep an eye out for that. And when I looked on the big map, it looks like there's more open area south of us, so I would like to head south. Uh-oh. That is a wolf pup. That is terrifying. That means there are adult wolves nearby, and they will protect their pups with vigor. So we want to keep an eye out still. But here's another mushroom, so we're gonna harvest this. This is going to take 1 HP, which isn't as bad as the jack-o'-lanterns, but I don't want it, so I'm going to toss it. I'm also going to collect these sticks because we're going to need wood here soon for various things. I think I saw some more mushrooms over here. Yes. Dry saddle. I do know this one's pretty good, so great. And then these are white oyster. So even these ones on the trees will grow back. So we don't want to chop down these trees because that's going to take away a food source. I'm just going to harvest these real quick, and then I will mark on the map where they are. Mark, save. Perfect. Our southward journey continues with some flint related deviations. Ooh, witch's hat. All right, so I know that witch's hat can be eaten just from playing before. So I'm gonna mark, I'm not going to harvest these because we are starting to run out of inventory space, but I am gonna go ahead and mark it on the map. All right, so my hunger is starting to go down a little bit. I'm gonna eat this dried saddle because we only have one. It just clears up another inventory spot. Ooh, terrifying. So this is a cave. We're not going into the cave. We're going to leave that alone. Oh my god, resin. All right, this very important for a later game. We're not going to be getting into this for the story, the quick start, but we are going to go ahead and mark it. Resin's important for a lot of the mechanical stuff once you get into it. It only grows on pine trees that are naturally spawned in. So, oh my god, we need to get out of these woods. Because this tree produces resin, we would never want to cut it down. We would want to keep it alive. All right, we are out of the forest, which is fantastic. We're in kind of a meadowy area. It's very nice. We want to find cattails is kind of our next big goal. Here's a berry bush. With my knife, I hold right click to harvest from it. Now, we will want to eventually come back here to take a clipping from it to plant whenever we have a base location. We just don't have the inventory space right now for that. So we're going to continue on. This is tool, which is good for building, but again, our main concern right now is inventory space. We don't have any inventory space. We need cattails. Oh, and here we go. So cattails are going to let us get our first baskets. And so with my knife, I'm going to hold left click to harvest. I'm not going to dig up the roots right now. I do recommend doing that once you have base location, but for right now, we just need the tops of the cattails. All right, so we got 26 so far. Just get up to 32, and then let's see how many more we need after that. All right, so now we've got 32 cattails. I'm going to bring up the handbook, and you just type in the item. You can bring it up in the handbook, click it, and it will tell you how you can obtain it, as well as what it is an ingredient for. It's an ingredient for a few things. The main thing that we are going to be using it for right now is going to be these hand baskets, and this is going to create some inventory space for us. You can also use it for a hunter backpack, but you need some pelts, and we are not there yet. We are not at pelt territory yet. Once we have a little base area, we can also use them to make reed chests to store items in. But for right now, we are going to use it for hand baskets. While you're in the handbook, you can press E to bring up your inventory and crafting window, and you can switch back and forth between them if you need to. Unlike other games, I'm just going to call it out, Minecraft, there's not a crafting recipe menu inside your standard crafting window. There might be a mod for that, I'm not really sure, but in vanilla, if you don't have the survival handbook open, you're not going to get any tips from the window about what recipes you have access to. So let me do that again, but kind of explain what I'm doing. I did use my Minecraft knowledge to discover this. I'm not sure that it's in the handbook. I've got a stack of items, and I want to make this little half U shape. So what I'm going to do is I just clicked left click, so I'm not holding left click anymore. I just clicked it, and I was just holding on to it. Now I'm going to hold down left click and drag into all of the slots. Then I want to put cattails, which is this little U shape, and you can see that the hand basket comes up. So I'm going to take this hand basket and I'm going to put it down here in our basket / backpack area on our hotbar, which gives us 3 inventory spaces. Fantastic. That's great news for us, right? So I'm going to do a couple more, and it looks like we need 2, 4, 6, 8 more cattails. We need a total of 10 cattails to make a 4th basket, but I'm going to continue harvesting more even after the 10, as long as there's enough here, because I'm going to want to make reed baskets for storage once we set up our first temporary little dirt hut. So back to harvesting we go. It looks like we have harvested all of the cattails. These, like the mushrooms, will grow back. So if you want to mark them, you can mark them with, anything, and then just say, cattails. I'm not going to mark these because cattails should be prevalent enough that we are going to stumble across some more here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and make last hand basket. And now we have 2 inventory rows, which is great. I'm going to throw all of this up there into my inventory so that my hotbar is more open. I'm going to leave my knife in the 1 position. Now we are about half hunger, so I think it's time to eat some more stuff. Get berries in us, and we'll eat some mushrooms. With these basic foods, you do want to be careful. I'll go ahead and show you. You can overeat these. So you can see I only have a sliver of hunger remaining, but I can still eat this. And that wasted some saturation, which you really don't want to do early game. You really want to almost min-max your saturation just so that you can get the most out of the food that you are able to collect. So it is starting to get dark. We do need to start looking for a place to rest. What I do want to do first is make an axe to chop this tree down. Oh, look, more flint. So we're going to select the splint again, shift right click, get an axe head, and then use some stones to nap it out. Stick in there and craft that. I got my axe selected, and I'm going to go ahead and chop down this tree. And so I'm just going to aim for the bottom one, the bottom block, and hold down left click. And it'll take a minute. It depends on the size of the tree. For a really tall tree, it will take a lot longer. For a smaller tree, it'll take a short amount of time. Also, the better tools you get, the faster this will go. So this is taking forever because we have a flint axe, even though it wasn't really that tall. Because of the tool that we had, it just took a while. Uh-oh. I don't like that. We're going to evacuate. And again, I'm not running because I don't want to alert the wolves to my location just yet. I think they might have heard the tree falling. Nope, that one is, if you look at the tooltip, flowering in about 5 days. It is a struggling plant though, so it might not do very well. I am going to also go ahead and make a shovel because we do need some dirt to get a basic structure set up, spend the night in. That's a bear. All right, you see how it's set up? We're not gonna touch that. That in the distance looks like a villager. Or not a villager, a trader, sorry. Real quick, I'm going to make my shovel, keeping our wits about us. So when you run, oh, real quick, before we deal with this, when you run, it does drain your hunger a little bit faster. Now, copper. Like the whole point of the first part of the game is to get to the copper age, right? Copper is super important. We need to mark that there's copper here. We can get this surface bit, but we don't have the tools to get the rest of the copper just yet. So I'm going to, just because we need dirt, I am going to dig down a little bit just to show you guys what we've got going on down here. All right, look, so this is copper ore. We need a pickaxe to mine that. Get a pickaxe. You cannot make a pickaxe out of flint. You need to make your first pickaxe out of copper. You can see that from these surface ones, we've already gotten 2 copper bits. We need a total. Quick editor's note, you'll hear me say 20 copper nuggets for most of this video. You actually need 40. 20 for the pickaxe and 20 for the hammer. So the way that we're going to do that is we need gravel or sand. Here we go. Here's some sand that is not muddy. And I'll show you muddy in just a minute, but right now I'm just going to use the shovel to collect some sand. All right, cool. So we've got 20 pieces. It is getting dark. We need shelter, and we want to get shelter along the edge of some water. So I'm gonna come in here and try to get more dirt to create a shelter. You can see we've got some medium fertility soil and some low fertility soil. So let me just throw a bunch of this up there. I have water here. Fly, acrylic, I don't remember. Can we eat this? We should not eat this. Throw it away. Get out of here. Don't want it. At the bottom of a lot of ponds and stuff is muddy gravel. Muddy gravel can't be sifted. And you're asking, what do you mean sifted? We're about to find that out. Panning and sifting is what you do to get your first copper. It also, you're going to continue to use it throughout the game, but it's really good for getting your initial copper stuff. Okay, so we are going to do some panning. So if we go in here, game mechanic, panning for ore. Panning is how you get your first bits of copper. I highly recommend that you make the goal for your first night to be able to start panning, because this is what really launches you in to Vintage Story. All right, and you can see we need to get a wooden pan. We need water stand-in. We've got water right here, and sand or gravel. We've got some sand. Muddy gravel will not work. See? Can't get anything out of muddy gravel. And then we're going to sift through the gravel and sand to get items. What I'm going to do is just put little bit down, and then we need to create a wooden pan. So what I'm going to do is I have E selected to bring up my inventory, and I'm going to hover over the maple log and then press H. You do that, it kind of searches for you, which is really nice, and so it brings up all the things you can do with the maple log. Right here, this wooden pan is what we want. So we need a log. It kind of flicks through all the different options, but you need a log and then a knife. A lot of other things you can use, but you need a log and a knife. So in here, we're going to use log, and we're going to put our knife, and now we have a wooden pan. All right, so we're standing in the water, and we are going to have our pan selected. I guess I should do a little OSHA. a little OSHA introduction to sand and gravel and Vintage Story. If you are a Minecraft player, you're probably used to being able to mine gravel and sand however you want. If you want to start from the bottom, you can. Vintage story, it's not a great idea. That one we got lucky, but you heard it fall. So it can like fall back on you and do damage. So whenever you're mining sand and gravel, story, you want to make sure you go top, bottom. Also, when you're panning, you see I'm right clicking on this bottom one. You can only gather sand or gravel from a block with an air above it. So it means we're starting with this one. If I right clicked it, you can see a little bit left because it's in our pan. Then I'm going to right click again. You don't have to hold right click for this part. My hands aren't on the mouse. It'll just do it for you. And it'll sift through. It looks like we either got a granite stone. I don't remember how many we had before this, or we got nothing. Sometimes you get nothing, and that's fine. I do it again. And we got a bit of copper. So the main thing we want is copper. So I'm going to put it down here on the hotbar just so we can keep an eye on it. Because we need to get to 20 copper to get started. We also need clay. I didn't see any clay when we were running around. So tomorrow when the sun is up, that's probably going to be our priority, is finding clay and getting the clay process started. We're having a lot of really good luck getting this copper. You can also see that when the animation ends, the hunger bar goes down a little bit. It does take, oh God, that's a bear. All right. That's why we built the little structure. Okay. They can't reach us. I don't want to do more panning right now, because I don't want it to be able to get in here. So I am going to cover the top part up, and hopefully that will de-aggro them. So we, unfortunately, are a little stuck. I'm gonna chill in here and eat for a bit. All right, so I think it went away. We kind of just kind of hung out, and eventually they lost interest. So now we're gonna continue panning. It's great. It does look like we got a copper arrowhead from one of the pans, which isn't super helpful right now. It's honestly trash at the moment. We will probably not be keeping it around. You can see it must be midnight now. It's letting me know in the chat that 2 days left before monsters begin to appear. Now, the reason I didn't fully close off the roof, it's not just yet, is because we don't currently have a light source. So we are relying on the ambient light of the night to be able to see. Okay, we're just about over we are over halfway to our 20 nugget goal for copper. Is fantastic. I do think the sun is starting to come up. The sky's starting to turn like an orangish red. So we'll probably finish these two and then pop out, see what's going on in the outside world, and hopefully we can find some clay. All right, so we've got 13 clay, which is great. We've got some zinc, which we don't need right now, but it's good to have. Flint spearhead. It's not the worst, but it's also not super helpful to us at this time. We also got a rusty gear. Rusty gears are money, so that is important. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss the flint spearhead and the copper arrowhead, just because right now we need inventory space, right? The flint spearhead is not the worst thing, but so we really need the room in our inventory for clay at this time. So I'm gonna slowly head out, checking for bears and wolves. We are out of food at this point. It hasn't been long enough that I don't think the mushrooms would have grown back. So we're gonna keep advancing. I'm gonna head towards this trader and we're gonna advance to look for more food. Now here's a hole, right? You don't want to go down there right now. I do also want to take this time to mention that similar to Minecraft, I'm going to be referencing Minecraft a lot in this because there are a good chunk of people who are familiar with the other block game. You hold shift and then and then try to walk off, it won't let you. So you can do the whole, you know, bridging out thing like you do in Minecraft in Vintage Story. Hold on by your little toe beans. Ooh, bunch of deer. We don't have the tools to hunt them right now. Okay, let's see if we can get into this trader's house. There we go. I missed the door the first time. Hello. So, ooh, this is actually really good. So it tells you what type of trader they are up here. This is a treasure hunter trader. When you're ready to start your lore journey, you need a treasure hunter trader to talk to. But no matter what trader you talk to first, you're gonna get this same little thing. It's like, I haven't seen you around before, did you just wake up? And you've got some options. It doesn't really matter what you choose. They just kind of are like, yep, you've been coming around, just try to survive. And then you get to the main trade menu. So we click on this, you can see what we can sell and what we can buy from him, and you can see everything. They are a little, they do talk over you sometimes. But you can see that everything costs gears. We don't have anything that we can give this guy. We're gonna get out of here. I am going to mark it on the map, and I do like to note what kind of trader it is. This one is a treasure trader. He is pushing me out the door. Okay then. It just kind of helps you figure out when you're ready for lore stuff, you know which trader to go to. So we are looking for two things right now. We are looking for food, and we are looking for clay. Also cattails, because we need more cattails for storage. I'm not going to chase down the chickens just yet. Right now we want to pick up every piece of flint that we can. Here are some more cattails. This might be a good place just to set up a little base. I do tend to like to base in open flat lands. It just lends itself to the style of play that I like, which is kind of a homesteady vibe. We've already seen chickens, we heard some piglets. I'm into the animal husbandry side of things, so this area would be a good place for me to base. In fact, I do believe I am going to go ahead and base here. I'm going to go up on the hill a little bit. I will say for my long-term worlds, I do prefer to go south a bit more, just so that I'm not in winter all the time. One of my first long-term worlds, I went north and it was just constant winter. It wasn't really my jam. So I do try to go south, but for this little demo world, it doesn't really matter. It won't be here for too terribly long. Now this up here is very hilly. It's more flat out here, closer to where the trader was. So I'm gonna go out back towards where the trader was. We'll make a little house. All right, I'm going to set up a little base here beside this lake. I still want to include a bit of the water inside the base because currently I don't have a way, or something, I don't currently have a way to move water. We'll eventually get there though. Instead of just plain dirt, I am going to make some packed dirt. So you just take a 3x2 area, so like a half a crafting table, to make packed dirt, and then I'm going to pack it again. And for some reason, when you pack it again, it needs to be on the bottom, and we get rammed earth. This is a pretty solid, like, first building block, right? Gonna just start building with this. My shovel did break, so I'm gonna need to make another shovel. Get a nice little house in here. You can also knap with flint. Now I am starting to run pretty low on food. I am a teensy bit worried about that. But there's some woods around here that I'm hoping we can pop into to get our mushrooms. All right, so we've got a nice little door. I'm gonna use my knife to get rid of all of the grass that's in here. I am going to make some reed chests. So to make reed chests, we need reeds in a square. We're just leaving the middle one open. I hope I have enough for this. I might need to go get more. Just enough. Fantastic. Look, we've got our first storage container. Yay! So I'm gonna put things that I don't immediately need on my person in here. And some things you can store on the ground, like the wood pan. We can just hold shift, right click on the ground, and it can be stored there and it won't despawn. I need to keep my flint and sticks on me. For now, I'll put, we've got a little bit in here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this as our base, our home. I'm going to make it green because green's my favorite color. We're also going to pin this waypoint, and we'll see what that means in a minute, but basically it means that the icon will show up along the border of your map as well as the border of the mini map, so it's easier to find your way home. Now, as we walk away, you can see that the home icon is sticking to the edge of the mini map, and that's going to help us find our way back very easily. So let us see if we can find some mushrooms, but I'm also keeping an eye out for clay. So when you first start out, clay is going to be really hard to find because it blends in with the soil if you're looking at it from the top pretty well. You will get an eye for it. What is that? Is that a bear? That's a bear. We're going another way. It's chickens. It would be great if we could get one of them. We can get them in the water. They usually slow down. Okay, so I was able to kill this chicken. So I'm gonna shift with my knife and then hold right click to harvest. And you can see over on the right, the contents came up. And we only got one meat. Then there's also feathers, which aren't super useful to us right now. And then I'm just gonna get rid of that. And then there's a tiny carcass. So this is also not useful to us right now. I'm gonna trash these items. We'll talk about them later if we get to that. I'm gonna try to get another chicken so I can get another piece of meat. And so the rooster is gonna try to come back at us sometimes, and that's fine. All right, we're gonna start taking hunger damage here in a second, but we did get another piece of meat. Now you don't have to harvest the whole thing. You can, if you don't harvest everything if you don't take everything, the body will just kind of stay there. It's okay. All right, we're gonna go home real quick to cook this meat. Okay, so we need some firewood. So we need the logs, and then we need the flint axe above the logs to make firewood. And then we're gonna need a piece of dried grass, and put that, where we're gonna put the campfire, probably right here, right? And then we need to put firewood on that. And then we need to start it. All right, so we need to make a fire starter, which is going to be a piece of dried grass and then 2 sticks. And then 2 sticks. So I did have to add a little bit more, a little bit more firewood in there. So now I've got more firewood in there, I can just shift and hold right click, and it's gonna start fire. And that's great. So we've got fire going. Then we put the meat in there and it like magically creates a little spit for us. So we're gonna wait for this to cook so we can eat it and stop taking hunger damage. And hopefully this will be enough to get us over to the wooded area. Now, while that's going, I do want to make a torch. If I hold this torch, if I hold shift and then hold the torch to that, it lights the torch. And I'm just gonna put the torch on the outside of the house for now to, well, maybe I should put it on the inside for lighting. Put it on the inside for lighting. Since we do have lighting now, I'm going to put a little roof over us. Oop, oop, oop. Also, make sure you don't stand on the fire. It will hurt. All right, so we've got our chicken cooked. Go ahead and eat that. And I do want to take a moment to talk about your nutrition. So if you hit C, you'll bring up some character information, and we've been mostly eating mushrooms, which are vegetables. So you can see that's where we have most of our bars in. We ate a few berries, we got a little bit of fruit, and then we just ate some chicken. So that gave us protein. The more diverse your nutrition is, the more health you'll get. So you get more health for having a more balanced nutrition. And then I'm going to store the firewood outside, just I haven't washed space. And then we'll put this back, and we need to keep sticks. Great, so we've now got a cute little home in here. Now I will say this torch will eventually burn out. It is not a forever thing. It will go out and we will need to replace it. All right, so we are headed in here. Because we saw a bear over that way, I'm gonna walk instead of run. Oh, that's a boar. Nice. And we're looking for mushrooms. Almond, I think these are good to eat. They are. Horsetail. Oh, what was that? Was that? Oh my God, it's a bear, 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 it's a bear. Oh geez. Now it is a black bear. They might be, so, oh, no. Come on. I'm gonna try to see if I can, you need to like break line of sight. Yeah. Little butterfly. All right, so it's sleeping over there. Go ahead and eat our mushrooms, the few that we got, and try to find another way into the forest. Now we are also looking for clay. Clay is more often found in areas that have higher rainfall, and so we're currently in a biome that it rains almost all the time, so it's a high chance of us finding clay. I thought this was limestone. That's important for later. Limestone's important for later, but right now we're just focused on surviving. So the best way to find stuff in Vintage Story is to stop looking for it. Ugh. So they are protecting piglets, it seems like. I could potentially take on a boar. I would want to do a spear for it, though. The best way is to stop looking for it, but I really want to find it to show you for this video. Here's some witch's cap. I know these are okay. Oh, ow, 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 ow. So you see how much damage that boar did? That was a lot of damage. They are aggressive when they've got piglets and they're protecting their young. So we hear piglets, we need to be on the lookout. Now I do want to get more cattails because we want more storage. To increase our storage, right now, at least, we need cattails. And I do feel like it's starting to get later in the day. We really need food to make it through the night. I don't want tool right now. Ooh, here's some crops. Okay, so if you see crops out here in the wild, go ahead and harvest them, even if they're not fully grown, because you might get seeds, but also they don't really grow when they're out here. So just go ahead and grab them. We will talk about farming when we get back. Is that more? Oh my goodness, this is a good little batch. There's some more fennel we can get. All right, we're doing good. All right, I'm gonna eat some of this grain just straight up, just to start diversifying a little bit, and then we'll eat some fennel just to open up a hotbar slot and up our saturation. So we're getting into a more arid biome. You can see now rainfall is uncommon. So we want to go back because we're looking for clay. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Oh, and there's some turnips. I really want those turnips, but I also don't want to die. I'm trying to run through, like doing zigzags to break line of sight. Now I don't hear it. There it is. Okay. I think I lost it for a second, but it wasn't good enough of a line break. I don't hear it running now. It might just be far enough in front that I can't hear it. Yeah, I hear it again. Oh, look at these mushrooms. I want these mushrooms. Uh-oh. We also should make a death pit. We haven't talked about that yet. The way that you can okay, it got tired and it went to sleep. Fantastic. Death pit is a way you can trap game and also predators. It's a way that you can get protein fairly easy early game, and it's also a way to protect. Is that might be clay? That's clay. Okay, so you can see how clay looks compared to grass from above. It's very, very similar. From the side, it's a little more obvious. You know, that's clay. Red clay is the most common. Blue clay is more uncommon. But in the beginning of the game, it kind of doesn't matter. You just need clay. Can you not attack me? Thank you. Please. I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not coming after your babies. Just please go away. I'm going to try to quickly mark this on my map before that boar comes after me, so that we can come back to it when we need to. All right, so I'm going to try to get a stack of clay. That's probably stack's probably too much, but no. Stop. Bro, please. There's the clay. So that's why you mark it on the map. I was able to see it real quick to get back. No. Okay, you hear the piglets? Oh, there's some more copper. I should really mark this on the map. I just dug down a little bit just to remind myself of exactly where it was. Okay, so there's some more clay over here on this other bank. Maybe the pigs will be okay with me taking this clay. All right, so I got a stack. So we're good. We're heading back to base. It's almost nighttime. All right. So this is a fruit tree. Not super important right now, but we will mark it. You can come back for that later in the year after winter. So here's another one. So these aren't going to be helpful until next year. You can take cuttings from these and take the cuttings to your base to plant them so that you have more fruit the following years. Because we're just doing a quick intro, we're not going to do that right now. I am going to harvest these berries. Blackberries are my favorite. IRL, they are my favorite berry. See, look at all this stuff we're coming across. Now they're not looking for food. This is what I mean. When you're not looking for it, it's everywhere. When you're looking for it, it's nowhere. Starting to get dark. This night, we're going to focus on doing clay. So if for whatever reason you're not able to do panning the first night, if you can do clay the first night, that's also great. Panning and some clay stuff are the two big things you want to get started early. I believe indigo milk caps are also okay. For absolutely no reason, I hate these ferns. And these ferns, I just physically can feel them. Just in my imagination, I can feel them like scratching my body and just being in my space. And I just personally just have a physical reaction. Holy moly. Yeah. Dang, this is a big one. I'm gonna actually update this one. Big save. Okay. This is probably gonna be the first place that we go down to look for. And we definitely have enough copper now to make our first pickaxe. Now we need to use this clay that we just found to make a mold to make our first pickaxe. I'm really quick gonna run back out to see if I can find a little tree to chop down. Let's do this one. Because we're gonna need more firewood or no! No! Oh, it's okay. This is gonna give me a good chance to talk about respawning. So you don't always respawn in the exact same place. You respawn in like a 50 by 50 area, 50 by 50 block area. And then also when you respawn, you see how it's glowing a little bit? You get a little bit of a little glow buff just to help you if it's like nighttime or whatever. Help you kind of find your way back. So you can see we've got our house is marked. I'm not stopping for food right now because we just picked up a bunch of food. If I see flint, I'm gonna pick up some more flint. But you can see we have the, oh, that's a bear. The house pinned so we can see where that is. And then also there is a little tombstone marker where we died, and that's also pinned to help you get back to where all your stuff is. So I'm just doing a full-on sprint. And then what we're gonna do, so you can see I don't have any inventory space again because all of my hand baskets fell down on the ground when I died. So we need to go pick those back up. There's a black bear. I'm just gonna try to sneak back around behind that one. Okay, so now the house and the tombstone are closer. Passing the house, which means tombstone's right here. Right, and I hear the piglets. There's the pig. Just a quick drive-by to get my stuff, and then I'm gonna peace out and see if I can find a tree somewhere else, because it's almost nighttime, and I just want to show you guys clay forming stuff. All right, here's another little tree. Once we've got a little roof over our head, I do want to go ahead and make a door. The door that we can make right now is a crude door. And it is part of the reason that I wanted to go ahead and grab a couple more logs. So we're gonna go ahead and make this crude door. Now the thing about the crude door, if you note at the bottom of the description, it tends to fall apart when used. It's gonna randomly break sometimes, but it's still better than nothing. So we'll put the door there. Yep, see, broke. There we go. And then I am just gonna add a piece of dirt on top of there, just to kind of close it off. See if we've got enough to make, not quite. We don't have quite enough cattails to make another. All right, so let's talk about clay working. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a mold for a pickaxe. So I've got clay in my hand, and then I'm going to shift right click to bring up the recipes. Now there's a couple of things that we can do. There's not a couple. There's a lot of things that we can do in here. I highly recommend like checking them all out. Some of the things we're going to make, we are going to make a cooking pot and some bowls, but first we're going to make a pickaxe mold. I'm going to select pickaxe mold, and it'll give you a screen like this. Now these little squares, I didn't really talk too much about them when we were napping the knife at the beginning, but these are called voxels. So you can see in the top where it says clay form, the second option is available voxels. These are like square pixels, I guess you could kind of say. And these all need to be filled up with red clay. Now by default, you have a 1x1 tool to do this. This is annoying. So what we're gonna do is the third option is pressing F to select tool mode. Sorry, F. And we can choose a couple different things. So this is the default. We can also get a 2x2, which just puts a 2x2 block of clay in there, or the 3x3. The 3x3 is my favorite because it does the most. So you can, I'm holding down right click and it just kind of drags it all over. So we're filling all of this up. And you see, I ran out of clay. It's fine. I've got more clay. Because I switched to a different stack of clay, it reset my default to the 1x1 pixels, so I need to come back in here and choose the 3x3 again. Once you finish a layer, it will then move you on to the next layer. Now I could use my 3x3 to come in here and do all this again, but you see there's a space where you don't want to add voxels. You only want to add them to the green highlighted area. Maybe it's laziness, I'm not really sure, but I like to use the duplicate layer as much as possible. So what that means is when I choose this and I hold down right click, it's going to copy whatever is directly below it to the current layer. And you can see that the ones that I should not have filled in are like an orange, a yellowy orangish color. But this is fewer blocks to remove, so I'm gonna just go in and use the 1x1 tool to remove them. The 2x2 tool is my least favorite because it depends on which direction you're facing as to where the 2x2 comes up. I really wish it would lock to be something like always the top left block or something. It is what it is. So now we have a raw red clay pickaxe mold. Raw means we can't use this yet. We need to cook it, but we're not going to cook it just yet. So I'm just going to set it off to the side while we create a few more things. The next thing we're going to make is a red clay crucible. This is what is going to allow us to cook the copper that we got to make it liquid to pour into the pickaxe mold. It's similar to the pickaxe mold. As soon as you finish one layer, it shows you what you need to do for the next layer. Now here's where the duplicate layer really comes in handy, is we need to do that a bunch of times. We just copy it there. We need to remove what we added, and then sometimes you gotta get close to get a good perspective on it. Now we have a crucible. Again, it's raw, can't use it yet. We need to put it in a pit kiln. So we're just gonna set that to the side for a minute. Next, we are going to make a cooking pot, and it's just gonna follow the same process. I personally find clay working in this game to be very relaxing. I enjoy it a lot. Some people do not enjoy it, but okay. Sometimes you do stuff you enjoy, sometimes you do stuff that's a little tedious. It's all part of the game. And then finally, we're going to make some bowls, some red clay bowls.
You should also make a hammer mold here.
I recommend just go ahead and do the 4 one, just because you're eventually going to need them. Now, if this was a long-term world where I would be staying in this world for a while, I would recommend going ahead and making all of the tool molds. But since this is a short-term world for me, I'm going to stop my clay making here after I finish these. Perfect. We've got all of those ready to go now. Ooh, there's something out there. It sounds like a pig. All right, I am a little bit worried the pig is not going to leave. I'm going to move some of these items over here so that I can use the rest of the night to do some more panning. And it won't let me because there is a block above it. Need to remove that. Oh no! Oh! The pigs are attacking me from outside. Okay, so we can kind of block them off from being able to reach us. There's a wolf. There we go. Be pretty safe like this. Just because of how low I am on food, I'm going to skip doing this last block. And we're going to go ahead and start building pit kilns. assuming we don't get mauled by the parents of the piglet that will not leave. So, first thing we need to do for a pit kiln is clear an area. One of the biggest mistakes that happens with pit kilns is people set their world on fire on accident. So we're going to do a little fire prevention. I think we do need to go get some mushrooms. So we need to go southeast a little bit. There were still some mushrooms over here. And also there were some mushrooms where we had the, no, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. And some turnips. When we were running from the bear, we saw some turnip seeds. That's another bear, isn't it? Those are wolves. All right. So this area over here had some food. So because we know there's food here, the wild animals know there's food here. So we got a lot of competition over here. Okay, so this is the mushroom area. Let's see if there were any that I missed. You'll see me jumping every now and then. It's just me trying to get a little vantage point to kind of look over the tall grass and stuff. It does eat your stamina a little bit, so I don't recommend jumping all the time, but occasionally it is helpful. And you'll notice that now that we're looking for food, we cannot find food. Ooh, more copper. Oh, here we go. Some witch's hat. I am also going to grab some more cattails so we can add more storage, and then we'll go back and finish setting up the pit kilns. Additionally, once you feel ready to start a long-term game, I do recommend digging up the roots, which you just continue to hold down left click, and then you harvest the roots. And that way you can take the roots back to your base and plant them in a water location near you, so that whenever the cattails regrow, you'll have a quicker and easier time harvesting them again. Here they are. Well, these are carrots. That's great too. We'll harvest these carrots as well. Now, the random plants out here don't respawn in the exact same location. However, every year, more will randomly come up. Now, it won't be in the exact same location, but this biome, because we've got common and almost always rains, this is an area that's more likely to randomly spawn those vegetables and grains and seeds. All right, I do believe we've got an okay amount of food for now. Not 100% where I'd want to be. Oh, look at these cherry trees. But we are going to go back to base now so that we can continue building our pit kiln. One thing I am doing as I'm heading back to base is I'm making sure to pick up some sticks. You can also get sticks from branchy leaves. You hover over the leaves, sometimes it just says birch leaves, or whatever type of tree leaves. And then sometimes it'll say branchy leaves. And the branchy leaves are the ones that will provide some sticks. We're going to need sticks for the pit kilns. The pit kilns will be how we transform the raw clay items into usable clay items, so like cooked versions. Wolf. Nope, it's all me. It's all me. Run! Hopefully we can lose it in all of this brush. Oh, nope, different one. It's a different one, but not safe. So we are going to head towards our base and try to get inside. Maybe it'll get distracted by the piglets or the rabbits. Okay. Whew. We are currently safe. All right, so pit kiln time. Similar to how we made the rammed earth, like the step right before that was packed dirt. I highly recommend using packed dirt. Oh my goodness, they're chasing the rabbits, I think. I don't think they're after me. So we're just gonna leave that. Go ahead and make another storage chest. They are, they may be aggro on me. But I'm kind of hoping if we just stay in here, they'll eventually de-aggro and head on their merry way. While they are out there, we'll just stock up on some food, get our health up a little bit. I think they're gone. Something that I haven't demoed yet is, you see this shovel is really close to breaking. It's got 9 durability left. So I have another shovel in my inventory. What that means is when this shovel breaks, this one will automatically pop into my hotbar for me and allow me to continue digging instead of having to pause and create another one, or pause and pull it out. Pull out a new one. So we're going to right here start making some pit kilns. And the way you make a pit kiln, see it broke, and then the other one came right in. It didn't mean, but that's fine. We need literal pits. You can also find information on pit kilns in the help menu. So we're making a 1x1 hole, and we're gonna put dried grass, sticks, and firewood on top. We don't have any peat, but peat can also be used, or coal. We also don't have coal. And it does, depending on what type of fuel you use, it does impact how long it will take. So for firewood, it's gonna take 20 hours for this to finish, whereas if it was peat, 16 hours, and then coal would be 12 hours, and then charcoal would be 10 hours. We don't have any of this stuff right now, so we're looking at 20 hours, and this is 20 in-game hours, not 20 IRL hours. But what I like to do is use packed dirt to create the pit kiln areas, because grass cannot grow on the packed dirt, and if you let the fire touch the grass, there is a potential for it and everything else to kind of catch on fire. And we don't want that. We don't want everything to catch on fire. So I'm gonna make 6 pit kiln holes, just because that's kind of my default initial setup. And then I have some back here. Because I'll show you what I want is these overhangs. Because if it starts raining, the rain can actually put out the pit kiln fire. I don't want that to happen, so we're going to protect them a little bit. And then I'm going to go out one more block around everything to put another layer of packed dirt down, so that just to help prevent any fire spreading. I'm also clearing out some of this brush. We are going to need the sticks. Early game, dirt is going to be your friend for building. It doesn't catch on fire, and it's easy to get. If you're a builder, yes, it's going to look ugly, but this is just to get things started. You can improve your buildings and make them look better as you gain access to better and better materials. Right now, we're just trying to get you on the right track. We're just trying to get started. And then I'm going to use some of the low fertility soil just to use it up, have an extra thing slot. So we've got a very basic pit kiln area now. So what we want to do is come in here and get all of our raw clay items. I'm going to put them in each of the pits. So some of them, like, you can technically put 4 crucibles in there. We only need 1 right now, so we're just gonna put 1, but you can put all 4 of the bowls in the same spot. And then, yeah, also for the cooking pot, you can do multiples, or you can do just 1. Either way, I don't think it matters, but I'm just gonna put that there. Next, we need to fill with dried grass. We only have 5 right now, so we need to harvest a bunch of dried grass. Right now, the only way we have to do that is with a knife. So I currently have 16 dried grass in my inventory. You can see it used almost all of that. It used 10. So we need 10 grass for each of these. So I've got 1, 2, 3 more that I want to fill up. So I need 30 total dried grass for these. I am also taking the grass down to the bottom of the block. Instead of just leaving it like this, I'm also getting rid of that just to reduce the grass around the pit kiln area. Still very fire conscious, so I just want to really make sure we're not having any fire potential spreading issues. Great, we've now got 30. Let's go ahead and put all that in, and it looks like it did go ahead and move that singleton over to the side. It's probably gonna do the same here. Yes, it did. That's fine. Next, we need sticks. So let's get some more sticks. Early game, getting sticks is a little irritating. Eventually, you're gonna have more sticks than you know what to do with. And you are gonna need them for some things, but it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of sticks. We got 19 on me right now. So now we're going to shift right click, and it's 8. It's 8 that we need per pit kiln, so we can go ahead and do this one. But now we need to get more. Uh-oh. You hear how they're on top of each other like that? Usually, when I hear them howling like that, it means they've fallen into a hole somewhere. I'm still gonna come in here because I don't trust that. So I'm gonna just come in here to make my other tool. I'm also gonna make an extra shovel because our shovel is almost dead again, and I would like to go ahead and make a death pit for us. All right. I'm not going to worry about making the death pit until after we get the pit kiln started because I really want to get those started. So we've got 2 more that we need to get started. So we need a total of 16 sticks, at least. We need sticks for other stuff too. So if we get more than 16, that is all the better. 18 sticks. And we also got a birch tree seed, which I'm just going to go ahead and plant. So it's in my hotbar, shift, right click, planted. A tree farm is a good idea to start near your base if you're doing a long-term world. Not going to worry about that at the moment. So now we need some firewood. And yes, we do have logs on hand. So I'm just going to make it. Oh, I guess I used all of them. I didn't really mean to use all of them, but that's fine. All right, so now we need to put firewood on. 2, 3, 4. Yep, just 4. 4 each. Now we need to light it, so we can either use the fire starter, or if you've got a torch, you can just grab your torch and come over here. It's kind of hard to see, but you have your torch and then you hold shift and right click to ignite, and at the top you see it says unlit and it just changed to lit. Now it's on fire. The block above is it kind of has 2 purposes. One purpose we already talked about is to keep rain from getting on it and putting it out. The other purpose is to keep you from accidentally walking over it and injuring yourself. It's got a couple of purposes. We now have those going. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here just getting some more grass because we're going to make a bed. Now, a bed does not set your respawn point like it does in Minecraft, but what it does allow you to do is skip time a little bit. I typically do not sleep in my long-term worlds. It's very rare that I'll sleep, but just for this video, we will sleep to kind of get the pit kiln going through. What I would recommend is if you're, playing through your first time, or you're starting your long-term world at night, at this stage of the game, you're still going to want to keep panning and you're still going to want to keep making clay stuff. Because this is a short-term world, I'm not going to spend time doing that for this video. We are starting to run low on food again, but I'm going to try to make a bed real quick. So we're going to need we're gonna make a hay bed, and so it's just 3 hay bales. So 1, 2, 3 hay bales, and then just get this out of there, and it should just be that. And now we've got a bed. We're gonna put the bed over here, I suppose. While we're waiting on that, and for nighttime, I am going to go try to find some more food. Now, I do know that I have 6 berries and 6 pieces of grain still in my base. I do want to save those to show you guys cooking once the pit kiln items are done. I do want to show that off real quick. Oh, look, we found more clay. Make sure we mark this on the map. All right, I do have some more seeds now, and I've got a bit more food. So we're gonna head back and we're going to play with planting seeds and also dig a death pit. The first thing I'm going to do is make a flint hoe head so that we can till farmland. This one is pretty straightforward to nap. And then this is where the soil type comes into play. We've got medium fertility soil and we found some low fertility soil. Beginning stages, medium fertility soil is 100% fine. You're totally okay using medium fertility soil. Eventually, you'll be able to get fertilizers, you'll be able to do high fertility soil. It'll be great. But right now, beginning stages, we just have medium fertility soil, and that's fine. If you can't find medium, low's also okay. Just know that it's just going to take a little bit longer for your crops to grow. What I did was I just made 3 rows going into this lake to start my farmland. Right now, we don't have a way to transfer water, so we need to... They're so close. So we need to stay close to a good water source. I'm just gonna till, I don't think we'll be able to fill all of this, but I'm just gonna till all of it. And also putting it right here beside water will make it so you don't have to water it regularly. You still can if you want to, but you don't need to. And then we have some seeds. Let me see. I think we have a few more. Yeah, we've got a few more. So there are a couple of things to keep in mind when you're planting, and that's the weather. Right now it's May, and so most stuff is going to be okay to plant. Once you get into the summer or the winter to like the extremes, some things may not be okay to plant. I think we're good with all of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and just plant all of the seeds that I've got. Oh yeah, we've got plenty. Just keep spelt then. Okay, so we're just not going to plant the rye seeds right now. We look in here, each type of plant requires a different nutrient. Right now we only have N and K plants. So N is, they need nitrogen, right? P is phosphate, and then K is potassium. So that's the type of nutrient you need. And right now you see all of the nutrient levels of the soil are 50-50-50. It's because we just planted it. Once these are done growing, the N percentage is going to be lower. So planting another N crop here would take longer to grow because there are fewer N nutrients. There'll be more P and K nutrients. So those plants will grow a little bit faster. So that encourages you to do crop rotation. Oh, and another thing, I forgot to mention this when we were clay working. Another thing that I highly recommend is this storage vessel, 12 slot container. Okay, that is huge early game. So making some storage containers is a fantastic idea. Now I'm just going to build real quick. I'm gonna make a death pit over here, and so you're gonna want to do at least 3 deep. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna do 5. I think bears might be able to get it out of the 3 deep one, so I might just go ahead and do a 4 deep pit. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a pit to trap animals, and then you can use a spear to hit them from a safe distance. Now at this stage, we don't really have access to a ladder or anything, so at the bottom we'll have like a little staircase out that we'll just have to cover with some dirt for now. And then we'll do a 4th level. So I don't want to go too far down, because if you go too far down, you won't be able to hit them with your spear. It's starting to get really hard to see. So we're just gonna be vibing a little bit. So like we're down here to the rock, so we wouldn't be able to get through there anyway. All right, we've got our death pit dug, and so now I want to be able to get out. It's really, really hard to see. I'm doing this off of vibes. Okay, and then we're gonna go back inside. All right, so let's take a look. You can see on the map, this is our pit kiln. The map does update based on what you do in there, and we're gonna mark this as a death pit. So the next time we're being chased by something, and I am... no, I don't need to pin that one. Next time we're being chased by a bear or wolves or something, we'll try to lure them over to that pit so they fall in, and then we can get them and trap them. At this point in time, if I was playing long-term world, I would spend the night either panning or doing clay stuff, like making more clay items, specifically probably clay storage vessels to help with the storage situation. But we are going to go ahead and go to sleep for a little bit to progress the pit count. Oh, and you can see monsters are now able to appear. Ooh, I did not realize I was so low on food. Yes, we will eat a little bit of this. I think it's still dark. Oh no, it's light out. Okay. Okay, so our pit count is not quite done yet, but it is still going. Plants obviously haven't grown. We literally just planted them. I'm really curious about what hole they fell in. I'm pretty we keep hearing them but not seeing them, so I'm pretty sure they're in a hole somewhere. I'm going to spend some time getting a little more food, and then we also need some more sticks. Yes. So one more thing we're gonna need is wooden tongs and sticks. We got sticks. But we also need a coil of rope. So we get a coil of rope either from these wild vines or from cattails. So let's see if we've got enough cattails to make a coil of rope. Oh, only 2. Okay. And then we need to go ahead and sticks in here. Perfect. So now we've got some tongs. Those will be important when we get to the crucible stage. So we do have a wolf chasing us. I am going to try specifically to lure it towards the death pit. I'm not sure. Yeah, you are still chasing. Woo! A chunk of damage right there. Don't hear it behind me, but I don't want to turn around. It may or may not still be chasing me. Oh, there's another wolf. If we don't get this one in the pit, we'll see if we can get that one because it's closer. So what I'm going to do is kind of jump over a corner. All right, it is not still chasing me. So let's see if we can get this one to chase us. Okay. Corner jump. Nope. I'm going to start starving again. Oh, well, when I want a wolf to chase me, can't get one to chase me. Oh, some pigs. All right, let's see if we can chase. Oh, you gonna chase me? I would love to either have a pig chase me or chase a pig into the death pit. Okay, so it looks like we are chasing it. Okay, so they're going the wrong way, so we're gonna stay wide. Try to chase them back this way. All right, that one's chasing me now. Perfect, we got one. Okay, I'm gonna try to get the other one in there too. I'm gonna guess this one. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Nope, 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 nope. Oh God, oh God. It's chasing me now. All right, come on, come on. Nope, 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 nope. All right, come on, corner jump, corner jump. Punch it in the face and run. Come on. I don't know where it went. Oh well, we've got one. Just because the other one is around here somewhere and I recently stabbed it, I'm gonna come in here to make my spear. We've got a spear from up here. We can't. So we need down a little bit. Here we go. See? Hitting it from a safe distance. All right, we got it. This should give us, oh, it's low weight, but still, that is a good little chunk of meat. We'll just peel her out of here since we're starving right now. Oh no, that one went out. We'll deal with that in just a second. Let's just put all of them in there. That cooking. Let's relight this one. Not sure why that one went out. All right, I'm gonna store these bones outside because we don't really have a whole lot of storage capacity at the moment. And all this other stuff will just go in my... Now, one more thing that I'm going to go ahead and make is a tool rack, which is somewhere in here. There it is, tool rack. It's 6 sticks, 3 on top, 3 on bottom. And if you have a stack, so I just left clicked and it's stuck to my mouse. And then instead of left click holding, which drags everything out equally, if you right click hold, it puts 1 of each item in. Very nice. But this tool rack is going to allow us to store things. Oh, it's a bear! Oh, geez. Like the spear and the wooden tongs until we need them. Let's see if we can eat real quick to stop dying, and then we'll see if we can get the bear into the pit. Don't really have a lot of health. A little scary. Oh, we are going to need more firewood. All right, let's see if this bear's still hanging around. So you can throw rocks. There, got it. Let's try to get it in here. Is it coming? There it is, there it is, there it is. Yeah. There we go. Bear and pit. Okay, back to spear. This is a little dangerous because of how low health we are. Might need to go down. Death pit wins again. So, unlike the hogs, the hog that we just got, the bears have bushmeat, which we haven't really. Let me see if I can save the pig meat real quick, because that is red meat as opposed to bushmeat. So red meat. Well, oh, good, this is done. Red meat you can cook in a pot. Now got all cooked everything. That's okay. Red meat you can cook in a cooking pot, which we'll show with some other stuff, but the bush meat has to be cooked on a fire pit like this. Things that we now have a pickaxe mold, great, and a crucible. We're going to put the crucible in here because we need to get copper started ASAP. So we want copper. You need 20 units, 20 nuggets of copper, which will create 100 units of copper. What we need to put in that pickaxe mold. What else do we have in here? No, those can wait. I completely forgot. We need charcoal before we can cook this. We need to make a charcoal pit now too. Okay, so charcoal pit is kind of similar to a pit kiln. Let me get another shovel made. I'm gonna dig another hole. I think the smallest is a 2x2, but let me check. Yeah, 2x2x2. Okay, so we'll do the smallest one. I do want to surround it with packed dirt as well, so we'll go out 1. Okay, so we've got 2. Then I'm going to, you can do these above ground as well. This one, just to get it done quickly, I am putting in ground. Also, I'm making this a little bit prettier than it needs to be. You can leave it dirt blocks. It doesn't matter. I just like make it a little pretty. All right, so now we need to fill this up with firewood. We need to go chop a bunch of trees. I'm going to make a couple additional axes, at least one more axe, but probably 2. I do also want to point out we're starting to diversify our diet, and you can see that we've got more health now. We're out now up to 19 health points. As you're able to, it's definitely good to diversify your diet. It's not always possible at the beginning of the game, especially when you're new and you're kind of trying to figure stuff out, and that's okay. It'll come. All right, so we're gonna go on a tree chopping mission. While I'm chopping these trees down, I do want to just talk a little bit about animal husbandry. I'm not going to get into that in this video because this video is just about surviving at the beginning. But whenever I'm ready to start working on animal husbandry, you need to capture wild animals first. Specifically, we'll use boars and chickens, since we've already run into them, as examples. The way you capture them is very similar to what we just did with the death pit, except instead of killing them once they're in the pit, you can create a little tunnel to whatever pen that you have ready for them, or chase them directly into a pen, and then you can start feeding them and breeding them. The reason I like animal husbandry so much, one, I just generally love animals. I love the idea of homesteading stuff. While I do live in a very rural area in real life, I am not a homesteader, but I do like the idea of always being able to have a consistent source of meat in the game. That's one of the reasons why I lean towards that. And so it's definitely something that not everybody can get into, but if you are interested in animal husbandry in the game, kind of what we did to trap the bear and the hog is what you do to trap your first wild animals, except you don't kill them, right? You move them to a pen and you keep them safe. You will want to do at least 2 high fences or walls to keep them in, because when winter hits, the snow can allow them to escape. And then also you want to keep predators out, mainly wolves and bears. So you want to make sure that they can't get in. So having additional fortifications like additional walls or a death pit around your animal pens is also helpful. One thing I want to note here is I'm filling in the charcoal pit, and I know I have more firewood in my inventory, but there's no more in my hotbar. Again, similar to Minecraft, middle clicking will, whatever you're looking at, bring it to your hotbar. So that's very helpful, not only for building, but even just general living in Vintage Story. It's very helpful. Oh, yes. So another thing is that wild animals will try to come eat your crops. Like, I think that pig was trying to eat my crops. So it is a good idea to put a fence around your crops if you can. You can build wattle fence out of sticks. I'm going to try to trap this pig. Death pit. There he goes. Got him. All right, so I don't have much durability on this right now, so let me see if I can hit him with some rocks first. Got him. Perfect. All right, so we are going to save this red meat to... Oh, look, their creature weight is good. Ate my crops. We save this red meat to use for cooking in the cooking pot once that is done. It's getting really close to dark. I really want to finish getting this charcoal pit filled up because it takes a while for it to make the charcoal. I really should have started the charcoal pit right after I did the pit kiln, so that they were going at the same time. So this is a little bit inefficient, but it happens. One thing you may be wondering is how you heal. You do slowly heal health as long as your hunger bar isn't empty. The way you bulk heal is with poultices. You can make them out of reeds. So you could do this. You could use horsetail and use reeds. I tend to wait until I have linen, but definitely you can use reeds and horsetail to make a horsetail poultice, and that'll heal up, a good chunk of health. Why do I wait? I don't know, because I like to make the game hard on myself, I guess. I don't know. There's really no good reason for it. All right, this should be enough to finish off the charcoal pit. We need to make sure it is completely full. Next, we are going to cover 3 parts of it up. Need one more. Oh, geez. Okay. You can poke them with a stick from in here. Hopefully they're running over towards the death pit. Be really nice. All right, so what we're gonna do, gonna have to happen real fast, is we're gonna put fried grass on top of that exposed one right there, and we're gonna add 4 firewood. Let me just put some of this down so I don't have too much on me to the point where I can make a mistake. And then we need to light it on fire. It's gonna be a little difficult to do in the dark. All right, so shift right click to put the dried grass. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see it says charcoal pit unlit. I'm going to light the charcoal pit, and it's going to tell us that we have 30 in-game minutes to completely close it off. So I'm just going to put that dirt block there. All right, it will now take some time for the charcoal pit to get going. I am going to go ahead and cook a little bit of this red meat just because we do need some sustenance. If you go to sleep, your hunger does drain and it will wake you up if you run out of food. I'm really hoping that I'm going to wait until this is finished cooking. I'm going to eat it and then I'm going to go to sleep again. Once more, I would recommend either panning or making more clay stuff if you're wanting to. Oh, look, it's not done. If you're wanting to really make progress in the game, you don't really want to sleep during the night. You can see just there, my health went up a little bit. So it just takes some time. All right, we have awoken. There's a rabbit in there. That's actually really good because rabbits are super hard to kill just because they move so fast. But we've finally got a cooking pot, so we're gonna slap that bad boy on the fire. So we can make a bunch of different foods. I am going to quickly try to find some mushrooms, but let's just check this. Yeah, and it hasn't grown yet. All right. I'm gonna try to find some mushrooms to cook with the red meat that we have, just to show you some different recipe types. Yeah, and sometimes you can find the remains of dead animals, and that one didn't have any meat, so we're not going to use it. But you can get carrion. You can find kills from bears and wolves, and sometimes they leave some left over. You can also, if there's a hole, sometimes things will fall down and they'll die from fall damage, and you can usually get some meat off that as well. Early game, you are a forager and a scavenger. I'm not showing any of the fishing in this game, but fishing is something you can do. You can make a fishing pole and have a fairly reliable source of meat with the fish. It's just not part of this video. I found some onions. These, yes, we did actually get some onions. This will work for the red meat. Here's some peat. So let's just get a little bit. Peat is what will allow any future pit kiln stuff to go faster. I'm just gonna get a little bit, and then I'm gonna mark it on the map, and we can come back to get more when we're not starving to death. Monsters begin to appear. Okay, so we do have the possibility for some monsters to start appearing now. Okay, and you can see the charcoal pit's working because it's got some little smoke particles coming up off of it. With the cooking pot, you can have different recipes. So we're gonna make some meat and onion stew. Oh my god. Let's get this to start cooking. Let's see, is there a reason why this died? Eaten by wild animals. This one's also eaten by wild animals. Yeah. So adding a fence around would definitely help this situation. I am going to go ahead and replant plant some onions. So onions are a pea crop. So now we've got some of each type. Now, one thing we did not make from clay that we probably should have made is crocks. So crocks are how you store meals. Since we are starving to death, we're probably going to eat most of this. We'll get a little bowl. And once the meal is done, it opens up the cooking pot so you can see it and eat. Look how much that satiated us for. Look at that. It's 80 840 protein saturation and 300 vegetable saturation. Now you can also see on here that it says 1 serving of hefty red meat onion stew. Something that's different with cooked foods versus just raw foods is even if you try to eat more than what your hunger bar allows, it will only eat part of it. So I still have 0.7 serving in this bowl. And there are all kinds of recipes. So just grain will make a porridge. You can add berries to get a grain and fruit meal to help round out your nutrition. This is where it gets real good. This is where you really start building things up. Now you can also make pies in the future as well. You can do pickled vegetables, salted meats. It's all great. This is just the beginning. This is a really good place to be where you have some meals that you can make. Now I will say the last thing that we're gonna do in this video is going to be making a copper pickaxe and using that for the first time. So right now we're just kind of waiting the charcoal pit to finish. All right, the smoke has stopped coming from the charcoal pit, which means that either the charcoal pit failed or the charcoal pit is done. Always terrifying to see, which it is, but it looks like the charcoal pit was successful. So that is great. We are going to come in here and harvest this with a shovel. I broke my shovel, but we're just gonna use this. This is plenty enough. I need to bring my torch. Now we can remove our cooking pot. I'll just place it over the side for now. And we're going to try to melt this copper again. This time with the appropriate fuel source. Why is this the appropriate fuel source? So if we look at the copper, it says that the smelting temperature is 1084 degrees Celsius. Charcoal can heat up to 1300 degrees Celsius, which is far hotter than the copper needs, so it will be able to get it up to the correct temperature for melting. On the other hand, firewood only gets up to 700 degrees Celsius, so that is not hot enough to melt the copper. We're gonna get this in, and it's raining. I need to bring this inside so that it doesn't break. All right, so now we can watch the copper start melting, and we'll just wait for that to become liquid. Perfect. Once the crucible has moved over here and turned white or yellow, orange, it means it is ready. Everything is liquid in it. You can see it says contains molten copper. This is over 1000 degrees Celsius. It is toasty, so that's why we need to use these tongs that we made. And when you put them in our offhand, you can either open up your inventory and move them to your offhand, or you can have them highlighted in your hotbar and click X to move them to your offhand. Now we can pick this up, and we've got them in the tongs, and we're going to shift right click to pour it into the mold. Now we just need to wait for this to cool. Right now it's liquid copper. You can see at the top there. If we introduced water at this stage, it would shatter the mold and we would lose all of our copper. Once it turns to hardened copper, you want to speed it up and use a watering can to cool it off faster. We'll just wait for it to finish cooling off a little bit. All right, now that it's hardened copper, I went ahead and picked it up with the tongs, and we're just gonna dunk it in some water real quick. You can see all the little heat bubbles coming up. And now it's cool. All right, so let's go ahead and make our first copper pickaxe. It is fantastic. Unfortunately, it is still a little bit dark. I guess it is lightening up a little bit, but let's take a look at our map because I want to go to the big copper. This is the big copper. Fortunately, it's very, very close to our house. Let's see, let's go ahead and make a shovel so that we can dig down quickly. All right, let's, I guess, make a run for it before these wolves come out. See if anything's in the pit. Just the rabbit. I'm gonna leave the rabbit in there for now. Honestly, it might lure the wolves into the pit. All right, so around here is where we found a lot of copper. So we're just gonna start digging down. Ah, there it is. There's the copper. All right, so we will use our pickaxe, break the copper, and you can see that we are getting chunks of copper. We cannot directly smelt the copper chunks, but we'll talk about what you do with them in just a minute. Let's first kind of clear some of this out and just get as many chunks as we can. Now, while I'm digging this out, I do also want to show you what happens when you mine just a regular stone block. You see, you get these little like stones. You don't get the full block like you would in, again, using as an example, Minecraft. If you want a full block, which you do need for some crafting recipes, you need to mine out all of the blocks around it. We've got all of these sides open. Now I just need to remove this one. And now I've got a full granite block. So if you need a full block, you need to mine it out in that way. Now, if you need a lot of them, there are some like best practices which involve making a checkerboard pattern of rocks to get the most out that you can. Because otherwise, if you do it one by one like that, it can be a little tedious, but if you use that checkerboard pattern, you can get a pretty decent amount in a reasonable amount of time. So it looks like we've got all of the copper. We've got 39 chunks. Fantastic. So we're going to pillar back up out of here. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this waypoint since we depleted that copper spot, and I'm going to head back home. Again, we cannot put these chunks into the crucible. We need to break them into nuggets. The way you do that is with a hammer. The way you get a hammer is you create a hammer mold. And then you would do the same thing that you did with the pickaxe, where you create the mold, you put it in a pit kiln, you fire the pit kiln, and then you need 20 units of copper to create it. And you'd finish getting the rest of your copper either by panning or just trying to find some surface copper laying around. I'm just gonna, for the sake of this video, just hop into creative mode to get a hammer to show you that, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right, so the way we're gonna use this hammer, we put it up here, similar to how we did with the wood and the axe, and put that there. Control click, and look at all of that copper we've got. We are loaded with copper. So this like firmly gets you into the copper age, at least starting off. From here, like this is a great jumping off point. So from here, yeah, you're gonna want to start prospecting. You're gonna want to make all of the copper tools that you're going to need. The progression guide is a great place to see what the next steps are. We kind of skipped through parts of the Pottery Age. We didn't make the wood Lamar armor. You definitely can do that if you want. Early Copper Age kind of talks about what we did, but they also remind you to make a hammer. I did not remind you to make a hammer until at the end. Late Copper Age, and so it just like takes you through each age of the game, so you can kind of see what do I need next in the game, which is very exciting. I do hope this video helped you get started a little bit. There's so much more to this game. There are so many different paths and ways you can play this. You play it how you want to play it. If you're just in the mood to do farming, you just do farming. If you want to go explore, you go explore. And that's just the great thing about this game, is that whatever you feel like doing, you're gonna probably have to do it eventually. And look, we can see that some of these crops have started growing, which is fantastic. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any additional questions. I am planning to make some additional videos, like honing in on some of the more specific things. I would like to make an animal husbandry specific video, probably also a fishing video, caving video. Let me know what you think would be helpful. I'll see you guys next time. The last thing that I want to talk about is mods and world config settings. You can see I've turned on a mod called HUD continued, HUD continued. HUD just stands for heads up display. So it gives you a look at what your character is feeling. From the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that it's the 6th of May, and that the little sprout icon means it's spring. And then to the right of that is the time. It is in 24-hour format. So it's 7:24, 7:25 in the morning. And below that, you can see what time of day it is. The sun's just rising, so that's what we're seeing there. To the right of that is the weather. It's 15 degrees Celsius, and it is raining, as you can definitely hear. And then the next one to the right is wind. And then the wind speed or percentage is on the top. So we've got like around 40% wind. It's jumping a little bit below and a little bit above 40. And then below that is the wind direction. So you can see what direction the wind is headed based on that arrow that's spinning around. And then on the right-hand side of the toolbar is your temporal stability. Currently, it is at 106%. That means it's pretty stable. And then in the far right-hand corner, there's another timestamp that tells you what the local time is. Yes, it is 6 o'clock in the morning for me right now. And all of these options can be changed by pressing U, and then you can turn them on or off. I tend to disable local time, and then I do like to show hidden elements. I like to see if my character is rested, that's what the Z's are, and how wet my character is. And then once I get armor, I like to be able to see that. But this is what I typically like. This is my typical setup right here. If I go outside in the rain, you can see in the top right hand corner, I'm starting to get wet. Wetness doesn't super matter for like the warmer months, spring, summer, fall. It's not particularly important. It is important when we get into winter though. In winter, being wet makes you colder faster. Obviously, mods are a very personal choice. I am somebody who prefers to play mostly vanilla. I do like these little additions where it's just giving you additional information. A mod choice is completely up to you. The other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick is world config settings. I'll put a link to it in the description. There's a whole page on the Vintage Story Wiki going through all of the different world configs that you can do. I want to talk about two of the ones that I typically use. So to use a world config, you need to bring up the little chat menu. I usually do it by clicking the /, which is the slash underneath the question mark, and then I get rid of it because I have these already typed out. So I've got the slash in there already typed out. But this first one I'd run is worldconfigcreate double cropGrowthRateMul 2. What does this mean? Worldconfigcreate means we're creating a world configure variable. Double is just the type of variable. You don't really have to understand it too much. It just an integer value. It just means it's a number. And then the name of the variable is cropGrowthRateMul. What this does is it changes the speed in which it takes to grow crops. Typically, I like to play with 20-day months, and this makes the crop rate, makes crops take forever to grow. It would make turnips take 20 days to grow, and that is crazy because in a 9-day month, turnips grow in 9 days. So turnips grow for whatever length of the month you do. And so I've done 2, I've done just under 2. I'm still kind of playing around to see what the best speed is for me, but this is just an example to show you what it would do. Before I run this, I am going to pop in creative to give myself some seeds. All right, it looks like currently turnips are taking 7 days to grow. Now if I put this fan in, value set 2, now that's run, we need to restart the game. Just a second to do that. Yep, and now you can see we are at 4 days. So it took some time off. Definitely something to play with once you've started playing a little bit and you're getting a feel for how you personally like to play the game. This is something that you can play around with to adjust it to whatever sort of suits your playstyle best. The other thing I like to do, I talked about a little bit at the beginning of this video already, and that is turning off class exclusive recipes. I talked about how I play as a commoner. There are a bunch of other classes that is fantastic for servers. For servers, that makes a lot of sense. Single player worlds, it's just kind of frustrating. So I like to turn off class exclusive recipes, and this is another one where you need to restart the game. So ideally you just do these two and then restart, so you don't have to restart twice. But this will allow you, for example, the main reason I started doing this is because I wanted to be able to craft a bow. As a commoner, you can't craft a bow. You can buy bows from some traders sometimes, but you can't craft a bow. And I wanted to be able to do that because I do enjoy ranged fighting. That was my personal inspiration for wanting to turn off class exclusive recipes. If you want to play with them on, totally up to you. But if you're like me and you don't think it really makes sense for a single player world, that's the command that you use to turn off class exclusive recipes. Both of these commands I'll put in the description so that you can quickly access them. I believe that is the last little bit that I wanted to go over. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I will probably be making some other tutorials in the future, so if you have any suggestions as to what you'd like to see, please let me know. Thanks for watching.